Just a reminder to mute your microphones, and if you have anything for us to look over, Sergeant at Arms, Commissioner Curran will be the one to give it to. We are streaming with YouTube, but there won't be comments since we're back here. You can watch and listen on YouTube, you just can't talk to us on YouTube. Other than that, we're going to begin with an invocation. And we have Reverend Jeffrey Hubers from the First Congregational Church of St. Joe. If you wish to join the invocation, please stand.
Would you pray with me? God, by the many names we may have for you, we come today from many traditions, many backgrounds and places, but we are here for service. And so, God, we pray for wisdom, we pray for courage, we pray for strength. We pray that for those we represent, for those we serve, we would do for them as they would do for us. May the law of love guide us. May love for neighbor guide us. And so with wisdom, we step forward for strength and for peace. For all these things and for all these leaders, God, we lift up to you. By your many names we may call you. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend. You're welcome to stay, but if you have
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Bell,
Present.
Curran,
Present.
Freeling, Harrison,
Present.
Hinkleman, Majerick,
Present.
Meeks,
Present.
Scott,
Present.
Ballraff,
Here.
Werfel,
Present.
Yarborough, Elliott.
Present.
Mr. Chair, you have 10 present, 2 absent.
Thank you. The minutes were sent out last Friday morning, I think. Haven't heard about any changes. Assuming there are none, is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Scott. Is there support? Supported by Volrath. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Madam Clerk, we have communications.
We have none.
Okay. We're at the point now where we would entertain public comments concerning agenda items, that is resolutions that are on the agenda on the consent calendar. I don't see any added resolutions, so it would be the ones shown on the first page and then at the top of the second page of the agenda if you're looking at a paper copy. So if anyone has any comments about resolutions on the agenda, this would be the time to say so. Hearing no comments, is there a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Curran. Is there support?
I'll second.
Supported by Majerick. Any discussion about the consent calendar? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Curran,
Yes.
Freeling, Harrison,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Meeks,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ballraff,
Affirmative.
Werfel,
Yes.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 10 yeas.
thank you. If you go back through your packet, there's a memo dated today that Annette put together that has to do with the meeting calendar for the second 6 months of this year. Actually, mine was just inserted into the back. Yours may or may not be stapled into that agenda. But if you take a look at it, you'll see that we have the meetings for the rest of the year and a take home and put on the bulletin board. Did you have something?
Mr. Chair, to the board, we did carry forward the last meeting in December. That was a carryover from last year, and it was tied specifically to the CARES Act. I think the bulk of the board will recall we had a timeline to spend down the CARES Act money, and it was the end of the calendar year. That was the only one that jumped out at me, as I'm guessing we won't need that for this upcoming year. That was it, sir.
Okay. If you look about halfway down, first page, a little more, there's a note about the 2nd of September, which is the Thursday prior to Memorial Day. And we have a little bit of time to deal with that, but just think about whether you would have a burning desire to meet on that day, or whether you would be okay not meeting that day. Because we can cancel it right now, or we can wait and see how things go and then look at canceling that meeting if the press of business in August doesn't require it. My inclination would be to leave it on for now with an eye towards canceling it if we don't need it. Sorry, Annette. But chances are we can go without that one. But for now, it's on the calendar. Everybody okay with that? Everybody here anyway, around the horseshoe? Okay. All right, otherwise, we'll go to committee reports. We'll start. Oh, yes, sir.
On the August 19th, for a night meeting in Chickming Township, there's not a time there. Is it 6:30?
6.
Yeah.
6.
Typically, whenever we have a night meeting, it'll be a 6 o'clock start.
We have new commissioners. So
Oh, okay,
I wanted to.
sure. And again, that can change if we need to, but we'll plan on 6. And one of the St. Joe area commissioners should have Commissioner Yarborough follow them.
They can follow me.
Or either way,
You don't like it.
because otherwise she will end up in Michigan City again. So, okay. Any other questions, comments on this meeting schedule, tentative as it is? Okay. Now, committee reports, admin.
Thank you, Mac. We met this morning in the Auto Gra room. We approved our minutes from our last meeting. We went over a reporting schedule for the remainder of the year that looked good to us. We had a couple of resolutions that were on the agenda today that were already approved. One is reimbursement to the road department for the engineer in the amount of $10,000. The other resolution was to extend the contract with Abbenmarsh for the road department. It expired June 30th of this year. We extended it to December 31st of this year. So you already approved those this morning. Then we have a resolution that will be coming to you for our next meeting, and that is resolution that ends in 7269. And it is to abandon 157 feet by 50 feet of Lincoln Street located in Hager Township. This is an area of roadway that has never been used, never been developed. It's actually a ravine, and the same property owner owns both sides of the easement. And so Hager Township is in support of this. They have passed a resolution supporting the abandonment of the 157 feet by 50 feet. And so you will have that as a resolution at our next meeting, authorizing that. We had our chairman and our county administrator in, and we talked about the use of funds from the PA1, Public Act 1 of 2018 funds that we received. And then we had public comments, and we adjourned our meeting. That's our report.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for admin? Hearing none, we'll move on to finance. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Good morning. I am so pleased to see you all, to see you in person. I thank you for the support that you gave us over Zoom and that you're here today. Thank you so much. What I would like to let you know is that we have a resolution coming next week for your hopefully approval, and it's regarding our purchasing policy, which was last updated in 2012. And this is something we've discussed a number of times, but we would like to bring resolution number F210-7273 to you next week to update our spending policy to where our administrator will have the ability and the spending authority for $10,000 without our approval. It's now at $5,000. We know there is a need to raise that, so that will come to you next week. We did have 2 waiver requests, and one was from the Sheriff's Department to Telerad. It is a sole source provider, and they provide the cages for the canines that are in our county cars or truck or wherever it is. We've discovered, and Administrator Doucette agreed, they've tried to use other companies, and Telerad is the one that does it. It's so that they can transport the dogs, the canines. And so
Consensus.
we have consensus that we should do this at our meeting today. 2 of our members are absent, and Chairman McKinley Elliott's sat in with us. The other waiver that we were asked for was from our Parks Department. We already approved, I think on the 24th, the expense for a front end for the loader on the John Deere tractor that's used at Silver Beach Park for moving things. And Director Adams said sometimes it's trees or things that have come up on the beach. A lot of times it's sand. And what has happened, the arms that work this loader have cracked. And they thought that the first bid we had was $4,231.30. We approved that. But as they looked at it, they decided it needed so much more work. And so we want to avoid that and make this new quote, and it's for $8,990.50. It was suggested, and the thought is that should we need to get a new trailer, that we look to get a loader that's heavier, that has more capacity so that the arms and all can stand it. And it's with the place where we bought the John Deere, and they've been working on this all the time. So the familiarity, and we're saying that's the sole source for that. And so we, by consensus, have agreed that we should do these 2 waivers. We then accepted our minutes, and that is my report.
Thank you. Questions for finance? Hearing none, we'll go on to personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We again met this morning. A number of resolutions on our agenda today had previously been reviewed by the committee. We also had a presentation regarding the Indiana-Michigan River Valley Trail and some of the development work going on in the county regarding that trail. There is a memorandum of understanding that's circulating and is under review by our administrator and corporate counsel regarding the Parks Department participating in that. And so that I would anticipate surfacing at a later date for the board to consider. We also met with Shelley regarding our evaluation protocol for the county. And so we talked through a number of issues with respects to that. You can anticipate board policy coming to you at a later date, as well as a standard form that we'll be using recommending to department managers to make sure that all our staff have an annual evaluation. And we talked a bit about the presentations from departments, and the consensus was that we would start looking at the health plan, pension plan, the labor contracts. Since you have a new Personnel and Human Services Committee, we thought that would be a good orientation for the committee members to be up to speed on all those documents. And so we'll kind of wait on department presentations for a bit till we get through some of the more HR-related activities that we can be expected to deal with. We did also talk about Public Act 1 money, and also talk a bit about the evaluation document for our administrator. And so you'll see that at a later date also. So we've naturally approved our minutes. No public comments were received during our meeting, and that pretty much concluded our business.
Very good, thank you. Any questions for PHS?
Just curious, what are you doing with the evaluation for the administrator? Condensing it?
Well,
Revamping it? Because that just got done not too long ago.
well, it's not the form, it's more what goes onto the form. If you remember, which has been quite a while ago, that it's tied to the goals and objectives established by the board. And so they do kind of drift down into the administrator evaluation form. So that would be the area of focus.
Okay, great, thank you.
So I would not anticipate any change in the form.
Okay.
Right, and this will be of course, the first full calendar year, 21. So we'll confer as we get closer toward the end of the calendar year about an orderly fashion for soliciting comment from board members to do an annual eval.
Is that when we're gonna do an annual evaluation at the end of the year?
Yeah, I think we should start in the fourth quarter, have it ready for December.
Previously, Mr. Wolf's evaluation started with the board in November and then surfaced for the end of the calendar year.
Great.
Any other questions for PHS?
Question. We only have 2 employees, so are we also going to be looking at an evaluation on our corporate counsel, even though they're contract?
No.
No? All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, commissioner reports. We'll start, Michael, and we'll go around clockwise.
I don't have anything.
Click.
Just tap it.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything.
We had a 911 meeting yesterday, and one of the things that came out of it was the FEMA grants on the radios. And Chief Stover, I believe it was, is not feeling confident about those anymore. So we may be seeing more requests for loans from the townships to get those all purchased and done.
Just as a follow-up to the public, to the board, we've completed the first loan agreement for 800 megahertz radios. Chickaming Township is the first to go down that path. We've had some initial conversation with other departments, but I would stress to all of you, we created the template for the loan documents to be reusable. And if any of your departments are struggling with financial issues tied to the 800 megahertz radio upgrade, let me know. We'll do our best to work with them to see if we can put together a loan package. We've tried to make it a very simple loan package with low interest, no penalty for prepayment. If they end up getting grant funds, we can certainly take a step back and allow them to use grant funds. But that tool is out there, and a big thanks to Chief Davidson with Chickaming for being the first to get in line. Hopefully we'll see more of those.
Is there an expiration date on the offer?
Sorry.
Is there an expiration date on the offer?
No.
No.
No, the 800 megahertz radio transfer is coming. I've gone to the Chiefs Association meeting to talk about the county trying to provide assistance. Caitlin Samsel with 911 has made regular reminders what we're trying to do is get in front of the switch over from VHF to 800 megahertz. And we just don't want any of the departments to be surprised or financially unable to make that transfer and hold up the transfer.
Okay. Well, it's looking like through that meeting that the grant opportunity is going to pass us by again.
Yeah.
So it's very important that these communities know that so they can know that there's an option if, because we're pretty much looks like we're not going to get the grant again. We tried several times and they're near the end of it and we haven't been selected, so it's not looking good.
Yep. On behalf of the chair, I'll say Commissioner Harrison, do you have anything to report?
I'll be glad to say no report.
Okay.
No report.
No report.
No report.
No report. Ezra?
I attended a meeting along with Commissioner Curran and our administrator at Chickmeen Township Hall. The road department people were there, and also the New Buffalo Township Supervisor, Michelle Height, and Chickmeen Township Supervisor Dave Bunty were there, along with some other people. Marcy Hamilton was there, and we discussed the linear trails that were being proposed on Red Arrow Highway. It was the very first meeting of outreach that we've had. There was really no decisions made at that time. We're in the talking mode. It's all a learning process is basically what it is. And when more comes available, I believe there's going to be a full board presentation that's going to happen so that everybody on the board knows exactly what is being proposed. That's all I have.
Mimi?
I have no report.
And I have no report, so we'll go to the administrator to find out if he has anything to share.
Yeah, to members of the board and to the public, today the board took affirmative steps to appoint Courtney Davis into the acting health director role. Courtney will be taking over on an interim basis as Nikki Britton leaves. Nikki's last day with Marion County will be July 9th, which is a week from tomorrow. So Courtney has excellent education, excellent background. I think that she's going to do a great job. The state of Michigan has recognized her into the acting role. So thanks to the board for getting this done. We'll be in good shape as Nikki transitions out of the department. Second item was I was just going to thank Jim and Ezra for spending some time down in the New Buffalo area talking about roads. So we spent a couple hours working with them. On your meeting calendar, we're planning to have a night session down at the Chickmeen Township Hall. And our plan for that is to take this Monday's presentation and roll that out to the full board. One thing that I'll be working with Annette and the board to put together is I'm going to try and get you all into one vehicle and drive the section of Red Arrow so that you can all see it and all understand some of the pressures that the locals are feeling, as well as the complications that the engineering staff are feeling. So I'll be looking forward to that. And as we get closer into August, we'll send you a whole lot of reminders. Okay, so it is officially 1 year, and I wanted to thank the board. I have really enjoyed working here. I've joked that not a day has gone by where I've been bored. Some of the highlights include working with the Sheriff's Department on finalizing the jail improvement projects. A weekly joke about what was going to get done first, the jail or the mainframe.
And the answer is
Neither. The staff here has been wonderful to work with. It's really gone by quickly. Truly, I think one of my highlights with Don was asking Don and the admin committee to go down and look at shoreline erosion, and Don ended up getting a parking ticket. So we got through it. We got through it. So with complete sincerity, thank you all for giving me the opportunity. I've enjoyed it. I look forward to coming to work every day. I look forward to working with you. And then lastly, so the lady in the corner, For anyone who wasn't in the room watching the last year of meetings, the level of stress that was experienced by one person, I just cannot describe. So Annette has managed all of our Zoom meetings for a year. Our typical Thursday would be Personnel Committee would meet at 8, which meant by 7:30, 7:40, Annette's down here scrambling to make sure the IT was all working. Then we would go from PHS into Finance, into Board of Commissioners. We would throw in admin just at random times just to keep her life interesting. Today is the first time you've all seen the upgrades to this building or to this room. Up until about a month ago, the microphone, there was one microphone for the entire room, and it was sitting on a piece of furniture that Annette had brought from home. She would have to click it on and off anytime someone in the room was speaking. So she was managing, clicking mute, unclicking mute, along with getting all of the packets together and managing the Zoom. So I cannot thank her enough for all of her good work. So you've made this year go by. Yep. So with that said, thank you to the commission, thanks to staff, thanks to Annette for all the help. Those are my comments, sir.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Annette, I want you to know, I looked at my information early, and I looked about 4:30, and there was no Zoom thing, because I always write the number down extra in case I can't get in on a call or I'll do something. And it came to me that I don't need this, that I'm coming to the building, because I was going to call you before you left. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now go into public comments. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less. Just tell us who you are and where you're from.
I'll try to get this down in 2 minutes or less, but I have no experience of the 2 minutes or less going to the Benton Harbor meetings for 50 years. Anyway, I appreciate being able to talk to you. My name is Jack Kinney.
Okay.
And I am a resident of Berrien County and live in St. Joe now, grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Anyway, I have been a developer of properties. I own Consumers Asphalt for 50 years. Did millions of dollars of work for Berrien County, for the State Highway Department, for the federal government. I own Central Dock. We brought a bunch of material in, hundreds of tons of material for Berrien County Road Commission. I think we saved money for them over the years and things. But on the side, I don't know many of you. I know Mr. Meeks and Mr. Garbo, because I've been in that section a little bit, so I'm sorry I don't really know too much about the rest of you. But I have invested millions of dollars in rehabbing buildings in this community. The last one is Eagle Technology, which is the most beautiful building out on South St. Joe. I rehabbed half of it, was lucky enough to sell it to Merlin Hanson, who rehabbed the rest, and I think it's one of the most beautiful. It was an abandoned building. Shoreham tried to stop me from recreating it. I noticed in yesterday's paper, the ex-head of Shoreham was taking praise for the rehabbing of the building after it cost me $30,000 to take it to court to rehab it. Now, getting to the subject at hand, I have been dealing with the temporary, or whatever they call him, Chris Cook at the Road Commission. We have one piece of property in Benton Township on the corner of Napier Avenue and 196 or US 31. I bought this about 30 years ago because of the location. About 20 years ago, I sold the front part to the State Highway Department to make a park and ride out of it. So the park and ride, I don't know if many of you from out of town are familiar, is on the corner of the highway exit to 196 and Napier. Next to it is Benton Center Road, which has been a county road forever, as far as I know. When we sold the parking ride, the county, the road commission claims that we sold the road, the entrance to South Benton Center Road. And I have no right to sell a piece of the county, Benton Center Road. I don't own Benton Center Road. So I've been working with Chris Cook for the last 2 months to get to we sold the front of this property. If you can put this in your mind, we own 24 acres behind that, which is on Benton Center Road. Benton Center Road has been a non-improved road for 40 years. The county used to grade it. It used to take care of it. The last few years, they let it grow up. They're not taking care of it. If you look at your Benton Center, at your road maps, Benton Center Road is today on the map as a being a road. Your new Chris Cook has disclaimed it as a road. It's on your county map as a road. Last week, after 2 months of dealing with Chris Cook, he went out and posted a sign, so the road closed. I don't know if any of your commissioners are aware of this at all. I doubt if you are, but he's gone on his own. For what reason? I don't know. I have invested millions and millions of dollars in this county. I have never collected one dime from any federal, state, county, city money to make the investments I have. These investments have created hundreds of jobs in this county. I believe I've been being treated right now in a very, very unfair mode. First of all, I don't believe that Chris Cook had the right to close this road without even asking your county commissioners. Right now, it's all grown up in weeds. It's never been cut. Up to 4 years ago, the county was getting money from the state to improve this road, which they never did, which is state money fed to the county without putting into that road. I won't take that up. That's a past issue. I have no reason to believe why Chris Cook has put our piece of property that I'm trying to organize to sell to somebody or to create a business on, and has put it unavailable to get in. I cannot walk on my 24-acre piece of property. He has condemned the road going in. So I'm at a loss to know why he has done this. And he said he has the right to do it. So I said, when you condemn a road, you have to go to your surrounding property owners on that road to get the permission to close that road. And he said, he feels he could do it. I said, am I going to have to go to the court records myself to see where your permission came from to close this road? He says, you are threatening suit. I'm out of here. I won't talk to you anymore. I said, I'm not threatening suit. I'm asking why you close this road and how and where you have the documents saying you have permission to close this road.
Mr. Kinney?
He said, get out of here.
Mr. Kinney?
Yes.
We're past 5 minutes now.
All right.
We appreciate you coming in and sharing this. I'm going to make a referral to the county's administration committee to look into this matter. And if you can, before you leave.
I have 2 interested people that would like to invest money into this project.
All right.
I've been held up for 3 months by a part-time avalanche company.
Can you
runs
leave
the
us,
county.
before you leave today, can we get contact information for you so that the administrator and the county administration committee can look into this and then be in contact with you?
Certainly.
Okay,
I
great.
would
Thank
like
you.
some action after dealing with a person. My mind should be fired.
Okay, thank you.
Can you get us some written information? Because I didn't get a lot of it.
Well, we'll follow up. Admin and the administrator will follow up as well, and we will find out what's going on.
I talked to Dan Fetty about it. He promised to follow up. Chris Cook promised to follow up. Who can I count on to follow up on this?
We will follow up, sir.
How soon?
Mr. Kenny,
I'm over my minutes. You can tell.
I'll follow up with you, sir.
I'm not very happy.
Understood, sir.
I have put millions of dollars into this county, and I have never collected a dime from anybody.
We'll need a phone number before you leave. If we can get a cell phone or a home phone number, that would be helpful.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comments? Yes, please come up, say who you are and where you're from.
Matt Kirkus, I'm New Buffalo. Hello.
Hello.
Much respect to you guys. I know you're not the problem. You're just a symptom of problems. Thank you for giving that guy respect. It took him extra time, so thanks for listening to him. So the ideas are, so if you give me 20 seconds extra, it should be pretty short, maybe less. So the ideas I present are today's object of criticism. I am right of a classical liberal. What does it matter in today's social climate? We know logic is not as exciting as Netflix. Sadly, it seems these electors, where the buck stops, will not protect me. All I wish is to be let alone, our most fundamental right. CRT, anarchist, BLM, Antifa, World Economic Forum, Green New Deal, sustainable development, smart cities are treason. You are complicit. I know the government exists to protect rights, property of citizens, rights and property. We pledge to the Republic, which includes the Ninth Amendment and access to an Article III court. Many are fed up, yet how many are here? This is individualism, when you're worried about profits instead of society. Since when do social justice warriors believe CNN, Amazon, and eBay care about minority rights? Bleeding heart liberals must dismiss pacifism while they march behind armed trained mercenaries, while they occupy police stations. You assist BLM protests here. Freedom requires responsibility, yet children promote drugs and sexual debauchery. How many of you can discuss socialism, individualism, or criticize mercantilism? How many of you profit from rents and usury or modern nepotism, special permissions? Ron Paul believes ideas are more powerful than weapons. I fear you won't deny the global state climate lockdown on the horizon, forced injections, and a digital passport system. Will you protect our rights to collect rainwater or have chickens? What have you done to protect rights so far? You attacked the roller rink and the church group. I don't grant your legal society legitimacy. However, your state agents may use color of law or legal manipulations to trespass on my rights. Why should I fight for you or my neighbors who are not here? How many have already given up on this government? Many are hopeless. It's a Greek word called abulia. They use it in psychology. Another day of the status quo. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Health Fair, Hager Township. I can hear everybody. The mics are working pretty good, but this is not working. And the reason is because I'm standing up here, you guys are real close to the mic. What we need to do is bring that podium back in here, okay? That's my suggestion. All right, can I pick it? No, it's too heavy, okay? All right, you're probably wondering what this is, okay? I wanted to know what my ancestors looked like 10,000 years ago before shit came out with a razor blade. And it's been 3 years, and I think it stopped growing right here. Because you never see anybody with a beard down to here. And I'm proof. Okay, just kind of keep an eye on it, okay? I'm gonna let it grow some more before I go, okay? Now, I got another suggestion here. I want to know what kind of remodeling you guys did in here. I was in here about 3 weeks ago and the place was closed off and you had a bunch of guys in here working. So what's going on here? What did they replace here?
The acoustical panels along the road.
Panels?
Yeah.
Did it?
We also did IT upgrades. Sorry.
What's that? Ooh.
Not allowed aggressive.
Yeah. Okay, that's what I want to, thank you.
ZZ Top has a bill longer than that.
Yep.
What?
A group called ZZ Top, 2 men, our age.
Okay, on that, any other comments? Yes, sir.
Aaron Sheriff, Marion County. First of all, I'd like to thank you for reinstating the meetings for the public. And I've noticed that it kind of waived the 2-minute warning thing. So I think that's a good thing. But anyway, the committee reports, administration and finance and personnel, when are they meeting?
We're going to get back into the regular routine next Thursday, which means we'll have a committee of the whole in here. No?
Photos next week.
Oh, photos next week, I'm sorry. And then the 15th, we'll be back here at 8:35. The building will open at 8:30, and then we're gonna do committee of the whole at 8:35, is that correct? Pardon?
That, on the 15th, it has to be at 8 o'clock because we have an extended committee of the whole. And so that's gonna be at 8, and then after that.
Okay. On the 22nd, Darren, we're going to be back like we were before.
Okay, now I'm completely
At
confused.
8:35.
I might be sorry I asked, but.
Right.
But
And
I
the
don't know
committees
if I'm
will
confused or
typically,
you people are confused, but I think we're all confused, to be honest with you.
committees typically right after committee of the whole, we shoot for 9:15 for the start time for those
Well, that's what we
committees.
used to have.
And we're gonna get back to that in 3 weeks.
Are they all meeting at the same time?
Yes. Starting 3 weeks from today.
It's not a good thing. Okay. That's about all I have. Who was the chair of the road department?
Pardon me?
Who's the chair of the road department?
There is no road department.
There
Oh,
is
road
no
commission.
road department?
Well, we have a committee, or there's a department head named Chris Cook right now. Sorry, I misunderstood and thought you were referring to the old road commission.
Well, okay, so you're telling me there is no road department per se?
Well, it's a department of the county. There is a department, and the department head is Chris Cook,
Okay,
who reports to the administrator, like all the other
But-
department heads.
who sits on that committee then with him?
So Chris Cook is a staff person. He does not sit on a committee. The administration committee, that's what I think you're asking, sir. The admin committee oversees the road department. The chair of the admin committee is just to your right. His name is Jim Curran.
Okay. All right, well, anyway, I just want to say thanks for redoing Park Road. It's got done really well in a short period of time. And I would like to thank the road department, whoever. I've had his number for a long time.
I think he's got my number.
But anyway, it got done really well. And unfortunately, is there any way of possibly putting a weight limit on that road? Because what's happening is like these roads that are redone, the next thing you know, we got excessive tractors, excessive equipment going down those roads and excessive trucks and such, and they're not built for that. And so if this road, it's built well, I'm not saying that, but it's good, it's overloaded and it's gonna have holes in it probably within a year. In fact, there's probably some in it already. And it's not the road department's fault because they've done their job really well, but we're overloading these roads with farm implements and this type of thing that they're gonna break the curbs down or the edges down real quickly. So is there any way of, and I don't know, you probably can't answer that at this time, but if it's possible, can we put some weight limits? There's also a culvert right by my house. And these large vehicles are gonna cave it in eventually, but anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shear. Any other public comments? Any other public
Well,
comments?
I understand that, but, sorry.
All right, hearing none. Other business? Anyone have any other business? Yes, sir.
I'd just like to say I'm very happy that I'm done with my last Zoom meeting. And I'm very happy to see faces back in this conference room. And look forward to seeing more faces in here and more comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone have other business? share your sentiments. I'm glad we are all here. We all know people who are no longer with us that we've lost in the last year and a half, some way before their time. But I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that our regulars are here, that you all survived. And Mr. Kinney, it was good to see you and hear from you. We actually met many years ago, but I'm not someone who is hard to forget. So I would understand why you wouldn't remember. We earlier, I think in PHS, the chair brought up that it's been a year since the administrator started working here. And you mentioned that earlier, that it's been a year. And through a covert operation that would rival any done by our special armed services, we have been able to discreetly bring a cake into this room to honor this 1-year anniversary. And I think if no one has any other business, I'm going to do announcements and reminders, and then we'll cut the cake. Looking at the calendar, as Annette noted, commissioner photos, 8:15 a.m. next week. Committee on committee will be at 8 instead of 8:30 the following week, and then we'll be back into our regular routine on the 22nd, 3 weeks from today, which means we'll open the committee on committee meeting at 8:35 a.m. If there's nothing else, we're going to stand adjourned to next Thursday, and we will start cutting and slicing. We are adjourned.